Okay, so I spent a bit more time working on this. Also, I bought a new microphone since the last video. Let me start the simulation up here. So I've added a actual map for this game. I've got the 5 different factions here, spread out in this node graph. And down here I have a little context-sensitive scope, so we can click on these locations. Has a bit of information there. We can also click on the characters. It will tell us about them here. Different relationships, goals, any recent messages, although we haven't got to the second phase yet, so there are no messages. So the leader here has decided to do nothing because their goal is to do nothing. The stream will go where the stream goes. He is a rock. Okay. This one, though, looks like it wants a lot of cooperation. So she is trying to build stuff. So there's the moon. So we can see here an indication that something has been built. And here it is. Project's built. Sensor mesh, which is contributing some, looks like, influence and research every turn. I've got a bit of a weird economic thing going on here where it's going to, as more projects are developed, there's going to be a sort of a diminishing return so that things don't scale too ridiculously. But the expected result here is they get a bit more extra influence and research each turn. All right, so Mercury built something on one of the neutral areas around the Lagrange point, I guess. Now, there's a bit of a bug here, actually. The larger region here is supposed to remain gray, and the project is supposed to be indicated by this little ball here. So I have to fix this still. Later on, I'm going to add some, I guess, warfare. So when a particular faction actually conquers one of these areas, then it should fill in here. But right now, it's mistakenly being claimed just because they happen to have a project over here. So it says over here, Mercury has built this solar monitoring platform at the Lagrange point. And that's giving them some fuel and research. So that's interesting. Let's scroll down. They've been doing some stuff. So here's phase 2, turn 1. Let's see what they were up to here. So I just realized I didn't explain this other addition. I've broke the game down into 2 different phases. Phase 1, where the factions are talking amongst themselves about what to do. It steps through the factions one at a time, and when it's gone through them all, it moves on to phase 2. And in phase 2, each of the different characters in the game can send messages to any other character in the game, trying to persuade them to change their goals, or requesting or sending resources, or just having a chat, having a narrative event, or just doing nothing at all. They can choose to take no action whatsoever. So I forgot to explain that, so I'm just running a second simulation here. Okay, as soon as Mercury finishes... All right, here we go. Phase 2, private counselor actions. So in this phase, it happens in a random order. They're just chosen completely randomly, but it goes through all of them. So it looks like we started off here with this character sending a message to one of their own faction members, and he changed her short-term goal, which we can now see here. This character has sent a message to this character, shifting their long-term goal. So that's a pretty big deal. Yes, she's convinced the logistics counselor over here to try to get more gold for their own faction, even though they're not the gold counselor or advocate. So probably when it's their turn to do deliberation next time, we're going to have at least 2 characters really pushing to get gold, which might lead the leader to take an action that does that. So here we got a narrative event. They're just chatting. We got some resists. This lady here tried to persuade her of something, but it didn't work. This character here didn't want to do anything. So after all of that happens, at the end of the phase, the AI comes in and reads through the whole thing and tries to figure out sort of what's going on, what these characters are looking to do, and it decides to invent some new projects that can be worked on. And here it looks like it came up with, in this case, it's a refinement of an existing project, so sort of like taking it to the next level. Well, anyway, I thought I would explain that since I forgot to mention it, and I'll go back to the other simulation now. Okay, interesting. At the end of all of that, a whole lot of new projects were invented for them to research, and a refinement of an existing project. Got basic income, and then project income. Here's turn 2 starting up again. And again, this leader wants to do nothing. So that's going to be a bit of a problem for this faction if their leader is, their goal is to do nothing. But I think that will probably change over time. All the other counselors are going to grow to not like him very much. At least I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll probably see in phase 2, they might try to change his goals. Here we can see there was a message that he had earlier. He tried to change someone else's opinion about something, I guess. I guess we could have a look up here. All right, so we're getting to the end of phase 1, turn 2. Characters are deliberating. All right, so Mercury tried to build something here. There it is. All right, here's the phase 2, freeform conversation. So he didn't do anything. Okay, this guy here did manage to change his short-term goal, but he's probably still got that fixed long-term goal of doing nothing. Yeah. But on the next turn, in the next deliberation round, turn 2, phase 2, he should take an action to, I don't know, do something. All right, we got new projects that can be researched. Well, it's more interesting. There's more stuff going on. I can still think of a lot of other interesting little features to add. But this is where I'm at now. Thanks for watching.